How do you measure biodiversity net gain and carbon? Is it possible? Can the two go hand in hand? Tarmac and Cranfield University have been working with master's students for 12 years on real-world projects on its quarries. Tarmac believes the mineral products industry can learn from the data being produced to help get the right habitat in the right place for maximum biodiversity gain and carbon savings. For example, monitoring in 2021 by MSc students has revealed that early delivery of high carbon capture habitats and moving minerals with electrical field conveyors rather than diesel dump trucks would bring carbon neutrality of a quarry 8 years closer. This project is helping students to gain experience on a real-time project, and it's allowing Tarmac to develop best practice on the road to net zero.
Many times you have the feeling that it has to be we focus on carbon or we focus on reversing biodiversity decline. And we need to take a more holistic approach and look at them together, and that's what we have here. The Wivenhoe project shows us that getting an appropriate design can bring carbon neutrality 8 years closer while also maximizing the biodiversity net gain score for the site.
The Northstone team has been working on multiple sites across Northern Ireland, and they say action to increase biodiversity doesn't have to be complicated. They've produced a biodiversity action plan identifying how and where to establish habitat corridors around 15 sites. They found some great low-cost solutions and have a bespoke Northstone biodiversity ID guide. It's a colour-coded field guide for everyone in the company who works on nature and ecology projects. This has led to more action. 10,000 native trees have been planted, and there's been more monitoring of species. There are pollinator-friendly corridors in the landscape and honeybee hives at 2 quarries. Tarmac's innovation entry was inspired by the celebrations to mark the Platinum Jubilee of Her Late Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. Queenswood, a new 10-hectare woodland, was planted by over 1,000 volunteers as part of the Queen's Green Canopy project. And the new woodland has increased habitat for rare and protected species on the Grade 2 star-listed Pantshanger Park.
The project behind me is a new woodland which we planted, and it was on an area that was previously quarried and restored back to agricultural land. But what really I think made this project special when it came to the planting, we've got a great volunteer group here who've helped us over the last 10 years with various tasks across the park. Over a period of 2.5 months, we hosted 65 individual planting parties, 1,100 volunteers, contributing 2,750 volunteer hours, and we managed to plant all of the 17,000 trees you can see behind me entirely with volunteers, which was was a great achievement by our park team, something I know the team's really proud of. And then also I think involving the community, I think that was my real takeaway from this project. I think it's a great way of just getting people involved in our sites, learning about what we do and what we are as a business.
High-tech cattle droving and conservation grazing go hand in hand at the 300-hectare Rugeley Quarry on Cannock Chase. Cemex first worked with the RSPB to produce a plan to maintain the open heathland with scrub clearance and grazing. Staffordshire Wildlife Trust linked Cemex with a local farmer, and enter the hardy and sturdy belted Galloways, a native breed which can cope with the tough terrain. But a herd of hungry cattle needs corralling. Public access to the land is vital, and so fencing wasn't appropriate and would have been too expensive. The solution? A virtual fence linked to cattle collars which limit where the cattle can graze. Grazing areas are controlled via an app which shows exactly where the livestock are chomping the grass and scrub.
It's using technology today which hasn't been available before. So right at the forefront of this technology in this way to manage land, and it works perfectly here. So here you can see where they've been overnight, and the red area is probably where they slept, and this white boundary is the boundary of the site, which is set, the virtual fence is set on that white boundary at the moment. We could produce that into a small area if we wanted to, but at the moment it's the whole site. If they cross that boundary, they get a buzz. If they stay outside that area, then they will get a small, mild shock. They're trained, as soon as they get a shock, they'll be back in. The good thing about the virtual fence is you can move it about, so you can then have them in various areas, and so you don't have to let them wander the whole area, but you can move it from home, you can move it from anywhere in the world. So, you know, it's brilliant.
The raven's egg is one of the most attractive of our birds' eggs. Smart, raven-friendly action at Two Oaks Quarry has enabled ravens to nest on the site. Ravens are a relatively scarce bird here in Nottinghamshire. Take a look at the chicks asleep in their twigs lined with down on the top of this nesting platform. For 2 years, the ravens have made their home on top of the sand silos, and they seem perfectly happy with the orange high-vis jackets. Coloured tape blows in the wind to keep the birds away from inappropriate nesting sites. The ravens are being monitored by a volunteer from the British Trust for Ornithology and a part of daily life for the quarry staff. And it's not just ravens who love Two Oaks. Peregrine falcons, little ringed plovers and kestrels are all nesting in the quarry. Black poplars are our most endangered tree, with only 7,000 across Britain. At Willington, Cemex is working with Staffordshire and Derbyshire Wildlife Trusts to save these precious trees. New conservation methods, experience and collaboration with Derbyshire Wildlife Trust in particular underpin the black poplar mission at Willington. Originally, just 2 black poplars were growing at the site and both were damaged in a storm. But now there's hope. Although one of the poplars couldn't be saved, the other was pollarded and cuttings taken. In special nurseries on the site, the black poplars are flourishing across the restored wetland. Understanding the genetics is a crucial job in the fight to save the black poplar. Patience, persistence and propagation is paying off.
Myself and the quarry manager, Bill Newton, decided that we'd try and propagate some of these poplars. We've probably propagated 200 or 300 now. Poplars niger are quite rare. It's very difficult to buy them, and also there's male and females. They struggle to propagate themselves. We've had invitations from other wildlife trusts for donor trees, and we've given trees to people, other quarries, and it's a really good, worthwhile project. I'm sure that there'll probably always be a place here for propagating these poplars. The 2 that were existing and have now gone, you know, we've left a kind of legacy, and it'd be nice to think that we can keep that going.
Breedon is taking the holistic approach to enhancing biodiversity throughout the quarry life cycle. Here the trees are home to rare bats and birds, and the watercourses sustain protected aquatic plants and otters. The quarry lies within the Loch Lomond and Trossachs National Park, and that makes the restoration work here extra special. The quarry has created a large area for wildlife within the surrounding national park. New woodland, grassland and ponds are supporting a host of species. Boxes for bats, birds and pine martins have all been installed, and the team is tackling invasive species like Himalayan balsam and the challenge of diseases like ash dieback.